Well, hey guys, how you doing? Give me 1 second and I'll flip over here and say hi. And it just takes, a good 7 seconds for the screen to transition. And I hear somebody in the background. But anyways, I know Zombie's got his mouth full right now and it just showed it. Literally the screen transitioned as, as you were like, oh, that was hilarious. But yeah, guys, welcome back to Tavern Talk. This is our second episode, and as you can see, we have someone right above me, like added into myself and Zombies. Zombies' camera's acting a little weird, so I had to shrink it down to fit. It was weird, but anyways, I'll work on that this week. That being said, he's antsy with full of coffee or something. I don't know, or just raring to go. But I've got Zombie, our DM. I've got Raven, our acting DM for this last episode we did, and I've got the rest of the crew here. How you guys doing?
Wow, no true introduction for us. Got it.
You deserve
Wow.
no introduction. You deserve the thunder wave yourself. Go thunder wave yourself.
Nah, Thunderwave is now reserved for you.
But
The
yeah.
fact that it's you means it's just an introduction all in of itself.
So okay, to do a formal introduction, I also have in here Grim and Arson. How you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Wow.
and and some other person is here. Oh, Mason, the Mason cam. You can see the Mason cam. It looks good. So, all right. So, as okay, Wolf is here too. Gosh, I felt guilty. But as you guys know, we just had a nice campaign that was ran by Raven, and it was kind of wacky. There was some wacky moments in there, and it was good. It was really good the way it turned out, because for the first time ever, I got to throw some wrenches into his plans, and Grim, like always, is throwing wrenches like he owns them anyways. It was more like his javelins he was throwing into the plans. Um, but yeah, so Raven, why don't you talk a little bit about the what you had us do today, like just a recap.
So today what we did is there were the mission that was given, and I'm pushing buttons on my stream deck so I can open some software here so that I have my notes. We were given a mission to go basically raid a vault that was collapsing, that had been sealed for many millennia, and retrieve an artifact for our quest giver. And puzzles, combat, and hilarious moments ensued along the way.
Yeah, and nothing's more hilarious than what I see right now. And if Raven is in the control room, he can see it too, because it's like freaking zombies over there speed eating. It's so funny. He's
I
like,
can see it too.
he's like a cartoon, like shoving freaking.
Whenever I have my video up, I've always got the control room up so I can make eye contact with Zombie while he's DMing, kind of a thing. And yeah, I'm sitting here just watching him, just like
I love it. I love it.
The food in. It's hilarious.
So you guys may also remember Raven from not only the D&D. Oh my gosh, I just looked up. Oh, someone should share their screen and, like, yeah, for real. But anyways, you may not only know Raven from D&D, but you also have heard him, that lovely voice of his, in our podcast, which this is connected to that anyway. So he has done a lot. Uh, the biggest thing I could say he did was probably the Star Trek shorts with us, because that was pretty notable. Like,
that was probably what, 3-4 episodes I think we did of that.
It was 4, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was the 3 faces you see here that were a part of that. Unfortunately, the shorts have kind of gone downhill. We kind of put that on hold, on hiatus for right now. Hiatus. But so now that we've gotten an idea of what we went through, so Arson had a question for Zombie while he was away, and because he was away, he didn't get to hear it. and I didn't know
Oh,
he was
really?
away at the yeah. So
Well, I did say I had to go to the bathroom, and
Yeah.
the talking just
No,
kept going, and I'm like,
No,
I can't hold it any longer.
I knew that. I was just I thought we were gonna revisit this topic later.
So
I'll put it this way: I was about to have another embarrassing story.
another one,
That's-
another.
no, that's one we can live without, you know.
Yeah.
I
So
don't want another one of those.
so we'll take a break from talking about our latest adventure and let Arson ask this question that he really wants an answer to.
Okay, well, I mean, it wasn't. I guess. So basically, after that whole, cult fiasco, and then we saved the twins. You said, for lack of a better term, that the voices basically stopped for the most part.
They didn't stop; they diminished.
Yeah. So like after that whole thing, we kind of went back, and then we did the whole Ignara thing. It's been rather quiet. So I would like to say, how long has it been since that point that they kind of, lowered the volume?
Well, let's see, because that was I'm trying to think how many sessions ago that was.
Like 3, maybe.
We'll say it's been roughly about a month.
Yeah.
So that's how long it's been without them, or well, not without them, but like diminished, or like.
So it's basically, so if you recall at the very beginning of episode 1, I said that when you arrived in Haran City, it got worse.
Yeah.
It's now back to the level it was before you got to Haran City. So it's not waking everybody up in the middle of the night anymore.
Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Jeez, lost sleep.
I can't help it, all right? And there, I want to make some moves about it, but right now I'm just kind of the guy. I'm trying to work on it, all right? I'll let you know when something happens. I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably.
Well, all right. Well, I guess he got kind of his answer. So moving on from that, did anybody else have anything to ask before? Did you seriously, or was that the chair?
That was the chair.
Oh, okay. To be fair, I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at Zombie.
I know, and I'm like, I didn't do anything.
He's like, I didn't do anything.
It's my chair. Thanks for calling me out on that. Appreciate it.
All right, so back to the question at hand. Does anybody else have anything to reference before, like what happened in the past? Questions, Grim, Wolf, even Blaze.
Nope.
Even Raven.
No, I'm good.
Okay. The Mason cam's going a little wonky again, trying to autofocus. So let me try to step back. Anyways, oh well. If it does that like we did last time, I'll just turn it off. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's go into our of the highlights, I guess you could say, of our adventure, this last adventure. And I know you guys are all wanting to tear into myself more than Grim, but I really do have a question for Grim. Is like, okay, so this artifact that we are going after was one that can set back time by a couple minutes, apparently. And which could save a certain amount. We could have actually used it in there to give us a couple minutes to get out. But then again, if I would have used it, would it have been back in his chest? I don't know. well, don't know how that works. But saying that is, Grim wanted. So in our last, like, not today's, but last week's, we were chasing after this dude that took a kid captive, and that's how he got all sucked into the Fae world and all that stuff, and the magical world of Zombie.
Disney.
Of Disney, yeah. Well, for copyright reasons, we're going to strike that.
That's true. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, they're going after everybody. That's a whole other
I
discussion.
know. God,
Um,
anyway.
Anywho, so we went into this world, and that's what like preempted the everything that's happened since, including myself, becoming dual class basically. Uh,
No, you're not dual class.
okay, okay,
Multi-class.
We are
multi-class.
not bringing dual classing into this. I do not want to bring back second edition rules. No, thank you.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no.
Mason
Dual
Cam's going
classing
crazy still, so
sucks.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. There. But anyways, yeah. So I'm multi-classing, and it's funny
There
because
you
a
go.
lot of people in here had no idea, and except for Arson apparently, which surprised me that he listened or he watched the Tavern talk. But because of that, the multi-classing, it gave me a lot more to do. Like I can now make a potion out of magic, and I can short rest and make another one, and have a couple on me that last 24 hours, respectively. Minus the 6 hours for your short rest or whatever it is.
Well, so I mean, from
Or
what I've
it's
been able to, a short rest is a minimum of an hour.
okay.
We
So,
still
I mean-
didn't even have that time in there
Well, so
to short rest.
what I told is, so according to technically the rules, there's no limit on the amount of short rests you can have in the game. I mean,
Right.
and unless the DM says, "Hey, no, you guys just took one, you can't take another one." Mechanically, there's no limit. So mechanically, there's nothing stopping your character from casting the spell in the morning, taking a short rest, casting it again, taking a short rest, casting it again, taking a short rest, and just repeating that cycle.
Potions for everyone. No.
But
However,
so,
he did put a lock on
for
it.
you, Raven. I basically said no more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
I said because one, you are going to hit diminishing returns for that as you level up. Because you can't. It doesn't. It's a static 2d4 plus 2. Using a higher spell slot does not increase the amount it heals. So it will be diminishing returns. But
and actually diminishing returns actually fairly quickly, even when we move up from level 4. I mean, by the time you get to like 7 or 8, your health pool is just going to start to outstrip the amount of what you would get off of them to really be beneficial at all.
Yeah, it quickly becomes a here, use this to get yourself back up type of thing.
Well, it's nice because when we were discussing this, and I've told Zombie this all along, I wanted to be a way to be able to help because we need more ability to heal our party, especially now, because we're fairly new. We're level 4, and these potions will help out right now. But yeah, I am capped at 2. But the thing is that's why he said cast it, short rest, cast it, short rest, and then have one on the back burner to use when you're ready. So I could use either the language one or that. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's the way. Now with everything that happened to me with my bond, there are stipulations to it, which you guys are not going to know unless you watch that thing. And Arson knows them. So if he decides to tell you, that's one thing.
I mean, you are also really lucky that she didn't decide to take that as part of your pact offerings.
I didn't think about that too. After
Because
I did
if
that,
she decided to take that as, oh, you're giving this as part of your pact offering.
You're not gonna get that back.
yeah,
that is a whole. I don't know, because I mean, you're talking about.
I took a chance,
a pact bond
with the child
versus, I mean, well, because basically you're in the Feywild.
Yeah.
You made an agreement to go fetch the item for him. If you don't uphold to it, it's not just as simple as, no, we didn't do it.
Well,
you broke a contract in the Feywild.
Yeah.
There's going to be repercussions for that.
So, why I said,
the
way that it ended, technically the terms of the contract
We're met.
were met, but the contract itself was also violated, and we're going to let it go. But yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I
So
was trying to urge you to also straight up give it to him.
Okay, so for
Never
anybody
let
that
me
hasn't,
say.
for anybody that has not listened to or wasn't there for the live, they're talking about the artifact that we went and fetched, which like we talked about. So because of my pact, I literally like I was the one that retreated because I was stealthy and I pulled off a really good move with the help from Zombie. That ain't well, not only Zombie but also Grim. Grim actually like helped out too with the way of doing it. But anyways, um, and I had really good roll of the dice. Like today, I really did. And I say that because of my stealth was 25 when I was trying to go fetch it. So that was really good. But anyways, so I went and retrieved this artifact and skipped the end boss. Basically, we completely bypassed the end boss, which looked a little scary. He took up 4 blocks, 4 squares, and little scary. Of course, the one before him was even, like the one above him was even scarier.
you know, honestly, okay, just since you're already on that, I'm just going to tell you, he only had 95 hit points.
Really? That's it?
Yeah, that's
So
it.
how much
Huh.
did each of the other ones have? Like those 2 that we took
Um,
out, how much did they have?
The 2 defenders had 65 health
So
points.
they had more collaborative than he did. That would have been a harder battle. Was those 2 against? As long as our okay, fair enough. I mean, it actually would have been an easier battle.
because the Titan would have hit harder.
Right, right,
And
right.
he
Titan would
brought
have
a new
hit harder,
mechanic.
and he may have had a different armor class.
If he would have
too.
hit it all.
Well,
He
look,
would've
if
had-
New mechanic as well.
yeah,
He would have had an AC of. I'm looking for it here in my notes real quick. He had an AC of 19, so he would have been very hard to hit.
jeez.
Yeah.
and I couldn't hit the other one, so you know.
Right.
Well, if
Neither
Wolf
could I rolled a 7 on one of them.
if Wolf would have been a casualty of that, I would have been okay with that. No, I'm just kidding.
Rude.
I was
Rude.
sitting all the way
Hold on.
back with Talos. Talos would have also gone with me.
Rude was me giving her a free potion, and she decided to cast her magic to heal her rather than use my potion given to her by me. Instead of giving
I
it to
have
Grim.
all of this healing to do that. I said I was going more of a healing druid.
Well, I know, but I was trying to help you because you were down. And I mean, you can say what you want, but all I'm saying is, like, I tried my best to help you out, even though you were being a brat.
Douche
I mean,
canoe.
I was,
And
yeah.
for the viewers, this is what I had to deal with the entire session with the 2 of them bickering like brother and sister. Just
Yep.
letting you know, okay?
Anywho, so that being said, you know, we got the item, and so we met the guy who sent us on the quest outside, which he did not decide to join us on the quest, so big coward. You know, for not coming in with us and you know, doing that
Would
stuff.
you want to go into a collapsing building?
Hey, had no problem sending us in and not giving us anything for it. Had
We're
no problem.
adventurers. That's what we do.
But if he would have gone in himself with the party, why would he have sent the party?
Well, exactly. He could have done it himself. He can manipulate
maybe-
time.
Well, maybe he can't go in the building.
Maybe if he goes into the building, it diminishes his ability to use the time magic.
These are all what ifs, though. The writer of the
Okay,
script is
do you
right
want-
above me.
Do you want to know why he didn't go in?
No, because there's a fact that could play a role later on down the road, and I don't want
It's-
you to.
It's not. It's
Okay.
not. Once I do these one shots, they're not. They're going to be interconnected, but they're not in the sense that there's going to be a slight story. It's gonna end up being a side story to the main campaign,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not going to refer back to each other. There's going to be a little bit of a plot device for the party that's going to kind of be the string through them, but they're
Gotcha.
not going to they're not going to refer back to each other. The reason that he couldn't do it himself is exactly what Zombie said. As the guardian of the vault, he was forbidden and unable to walk into the vault at any point.
So did you
There's
make that
also
up? Did you make that up after Zombie said it?
No, actually, no.
Okay.
It 100% is in my notes about that NPC.
Okay. I believe you. You know I do.
He just,
All right.
The difference
Yeah,
is
usually-
that's you know, when DMs start to think of these things, we tend to think of the same things together because this is, you know, what
Yeah.
we do. So
Yep.
Yeah,
So
usually guardians are forbidden to enter the thing that they're guarding.
Right.
guarding.
Whatever.
That would be guarding. But yeah, so I had to do it. But anyways, so I'm the one that retrieved the artifact. I didn't give it to anybody. I kept it because I actually thought about giving it to Zombie's character. And then I decided to keep it because it happened so fast, and we had like 1 minute to get the heck out of Dodge. We barely made it out, and when we finally made it out, the dude's like, "Gimme, gimme, gimme!" Like, and I'm like, "Well, hold your horses there, partner." And I did a rash, like I wanted to know why, and he was kind of like sidestepping it a little bit, and I was like, you know what, fine, here. And I without thinking, like I thought, oh, I have a bag. So in the last Tavern talk, if you guys remember, if anybody was watching it remembering it, the bag that was given to me was a special bag that if I go and get certain things for this child, Faye, I just drop it in the bag and it delivers straight to her. So I was like, and to be fair, Zombie, I actually did think about writing a note, but I had no time. There was no way I had time to, like, oh yeah, well, let me write this note. Hold on 1 second. Just stay right there. Hold on. Okay. Now I'm throwing it in, that wouldn't have worked. So I just dropped it in and it was delivered to the child. And after I did it, I knew I couldn't take it back because it was too late. And I'm like, oh crap. What if she actually does something with it? Because to be fair, she wanted me to deliver to her stuff like pretty stuff and toys. And she could have thought that was a shiny toy.
Oh,
And
God.
yeah, and literally as soon as I dropped it, I thought of it. I was like, well, I'm in too deep now. Let's just do this. And
What happens
it's
if you stick your hand? What happens if you stick your hand in there? Do you lose your hand, or does your whole body get sucked into the bag, or what?
no, not that I know of.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was pretty much my thoughts on that after I dropped it, and I was like, well, I'm in too deep on this. I gotta continue it. Which I'm glad I did, because I feel like my character would have that moral high ground, like you need to tell me what's going on. And if you don't, I don't care about my life. I care about my friends' lives and Wolf. I'm kidding. But I care about them, but that's why I was willing to take all of the heat for that, you know? If it was because of that, I lost, experience for instance, fine with it. I literally did it to, to do it. And so, yeah, that was something that shocked, like, you should have seen Zombie's face when I did that. Like, it was priceless. He was like, "No, you didn't. No." And
and then he panics and is like, DM, I've gotta send you a message real quick. And
DM, I gotta DM
like,
you.
I'm like, oh God, what? And as soon as he sends it, I'm like, son, God, why?
Raven's face was priceless after he read that. Like,
he had the same look that I was thinking. I was like, oh man,
Oh, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it was a kind of a foolish thing to do that, but I did it. But other than that, let's switch let's switch it over to Grim, and let's talk about his choices throughout this campaign, like throughout this day rather.
Let's be clear. This is not a campaign.
No.
What I did today was a one shot.
It's a Raven's one shot.
Yeah, Zombie is doing the full campaign. I'm just coming in to assist him to give him some time off and running occasional one shots so that we still can play D&D on
Correct.
the days that he needs off.
Correct.
And
I'm glad he joined us for that too.
Yeah, I am too. And I guess you could call me the assistant DM. I don't know. I don't know what title you would want to give me, but that's what we're doing. So it's not a campaign. It's a one shot.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question real quick, Zombie, and then we'll get back to the Grim thing.
Okay.
How did it feel to actually not have to run things today?
Well, so not having to run is a lot easier because you can focus on.
He's nodding his head like a freaking bobblehead.
One character.
I just noticed.
You don't have to sit here and be like, okay, well, here's what all they're doing. Here's how the world's reacting. I got to keep this in mind because here's what's. in the next couple rooms, and you got to also keep a bit of your mind free for what if they do something I don't anticipate.
Like, say, drop an artifact in a bag that teleports it somewhere else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, stuff like that. Exactly.
Child.
Are you
Exactly,
still talking about this?
Yes.
Jeez.
So you can focus on one character and really narrow in on that. Now, with doing it this way is so you guys you've had weeks to consistently get into your character's mindset. My character really won't evolve much because when I'm running, they're going to always take a back seat.
Right.
They're not going to do much because that's not the focus.
Correct.
They're going to be the ones standing outside the ruin while you go explore.
Oh, like in the main campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because playing a DM NPC and doing everything else is just way.
A lot. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, if you can avoid it, it's better. You can, but they even more so become they don't say anything unless they're asked directly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why
So-
Raven sent his character away? Is like, I don't want to DM you.
That's exactly it. That's
So,
exactly it.
let's
I did not
talk
wanna
about
have to
that.
Deal with...
Did you
Okay,
like
guys,
my
sorry.
interactions with that? Like literally, because I like for real. Like I'm really trying to get into my character's head, and I feel like I'm actually really starting to do it. Like everything I've been doing up to this has been kind of like, I mean, I hope you guys have seen growth in me when it comes to this game. I hope.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
good,
yeah.
good. So I felt like my character would be like, no, like Blaze, I trust. Douche canoe over here, I don't. Like I don't know her. Like, what the heck? So it's the same way with every aspect that I've played this game throughout this time. I have acted pretty much the same, right? I've been pretty consistent.
You did
Well, and-
exactly when I did that at the beginning of the session, and basically pulled Blaze out of there.
Yeah.
You literally did exactly what I had planned to happen.
Oh, good. That worked.
To a T. You did. I had planned on there being resistance, and I'll be honest, I had planned there being resistance specifically from you on having Blaze pulled away.
Well, I appreciate you
So-
giving me the script and everything. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I didn't do that. You did
Yeah.
exactly what I'd hoped you were going to do. So no, 100% you did correctly.
Awesome. Okay.
Well, and it makes sense because, like you said, it's true. You've trained with these people for a long time, and you've not, like you said, you've not known them for years,
Yeah.
but you've known them for months, and you've done a lot of stuff with these people. You didn't know my character from any Jim Bob down the street.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Hey,
I mean,
Raven, what was this character's name again? Can you tell me?
Starts with an L. Lacritus. Hey, I finally
Laxatives.
I finally got it right at the end of the session. I don't want to hear it.
So, I mean, having that moment where one of your characters, one of your party members is being replaced,
Yeah.
having that reaction would accurately be true.
Right.
And I tried to play it at the same way of, well, yeah, and I don't know you either.
Right.
Mhm.
And I
You
liked
know,
your reaction too.
You're trusting your party for me to watch your back, and you don't know me.
Right.
And at the same point, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going into a dungeon with 4 other people who I don't know.
Yeah.
So who's got the bigger advantage here?
I mean, you're not wrong. You are right about that. But the one thing I will say, I like the way you were like, instead of like taking it all up and being like, well, I would do this, you're like, well, my character would do this. And I'm like, why is he doing it that way? Just act like you're, give her the voice like, well, hey guys, my character. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, for real, like, you could have just, been like, well, as me, I do this, but you're like, well, my character would do this, so yeah, let's do that.
And I like the way that you handled the when Blaze was getting ready to leave. You kind of you did the whole blood oath thing
Mhm.
to kind of help one reassure Blaze. Not that Blaze had any issues with it at all,
No.
because Blaze. I mean, keep in mind, Blaze has more knowledge of the Feywilds than the rest of the party. And
Yeah.
that just comes down to experience and the drow and the fact that I've been playing D&D for God knows how many years. But at the same time, it was also a great way to reassure the party
hmm
that we were leaving. Now, the question I have about that is how is that going to affect Blaze and Lacridus's relationship? Because technically, that is a blood oath.
Yeah.
You're
And
not
that's
married.
how and that's how she meant it. Is because
Right.
so going into not with delving too much into the character's backstory, she spent her entire life in the Feywild. From the time she was born till now, she's never left.
Mhm.
Well, hatched, I guess she's a dragonborn. They're
Mhm.
hatched. They're not born.
They're hatched. Yeah.
So that was absolutely how she meant it. And now that the party's back, the party is safe. That blood oath has been fulfilled.
Mm.
The party came back. The party was safe, and because of shit, I will bring them back, alive, or I will not come back at all.
You specifically had uttered those words too, so like that
So-
was a perfect example of fulfilling that blood oath.
But it also conveys, like the way I intended it was, it conveys the importance she placed on of, look, I understand this is your party, you're trusting me, I'm trusting you, I'm trusting them. There's a lot of unknowns here. So somebody has to make the first step of, hey,
Yeah.
here's the olive branch. And the gravitas that the Feywild and the Blood Oath gives to it makes it even more that important.
Well, and it
Yeah,
shows that she has conviction, and that she was trying to give it to where we could see that trust. I mean, which was good. It was a good point. And to be honest, this right here is a good platform for Zombie to talk about his character's backstory, since we haven't had a chance to. But we could do that a little bit later.
I'd say that because it really plays into her bond, which is people.
Yeah,
She, her bond is to her crewmates, not ideals.
right.
So, ideals, but the
Well-
people who you fight next to, that's where your bond needs to lie.
And see, and not to bring this back to me, but I feel like that my character has been like that with everybody that's been thrusted upon us, from HB to Ayla and to you. I mean, every character that has come in, I've been like, whoa, hold on a second. I mean, Ayla was literally thrown into us, and then
Literally.
thunder shocked
Chucked
us.
something across
It was
the
quite
room,
shocking.
And then thunder shock.
But anyways, I felt like that my character was literally playing that out like he would, and that's why I acted like that. But let's put a pin in that for a second and come back to it, because I want to get back to the original talk, because it feels like two of them in here haven't barely said anything, and I want to bring them both in to talk about Grim and his interesting things that went on during this session. So Grim, you and Arson, please make yourselves known.
Well, Grim with Hydraulis, he was definitely, well, like he literally straight up said it. He was like, even if it was just minutes, like seconds even, like that would have been enough time to stop the guy from, pushing the girl into the portal and all that. He would have that's literally what he said. I think he even sent me a message here on Insta where he said, better that I wasn't the one that got my hands on the artifact. Because I feel like if he did,
Genuinely,
he would have, you would have done, you would have done something
I would not.
Really
Wouldn't have
bad.
even talked. Wouldn't have even talked to the guy. Would have immediately tried to like pry it open and try and go back in time to save that girl. Because
Right,
when it comes
right
when
in
it comes to
front of him.
Hydralis, right in front of him. When it comes when it comes to Hydralis, I want him to be a character that's very simple to understand, but has plenty of depth that you care about him as like a viewer, right?
Right.
And I feel like his staunch determination to go save this girl and like all these side quest stuff, and it's actively pissing him off, right? He's getting mad. He just wants to go save this potentially in danger little girl, right? Like it makes sense, and because in Hydralis's backstory, he saved a small child from getting attacked by a monster, and that's part of the whole reason that he became a paladin in the first place. So like this entire situation is just kind of like a, well, what if this is like the alternate like timeline where what if I didn't save that kid, right? And I can't let that happen this time. You know what I mean? Like he's very determined to try and save this kid, and that's why he feels like this entire side quest was pointless, because only to find out this thing can do like minutes or seconds. Well, that's no good, because well, their days passed when they came into the Feywilds, So like he's very visibly upset. He's still going along with it because he still wants to protect the party, and he still wants to like have his friends, he still wants to protect them and like make sure that they're comfortable and that they find a way out of here. But first and foremost, he just wants to save anyone he can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. Okay. What's to stop you from going back into your backstory if you would have had that power and saved the original child? Do you know how much chaos that
I
would have
did.
caused?
I saved them regardless, though.
Well, I'm talking
saying,
about
like, what if-
okay. So
when-
let me ask you this real quick, okay? Since you did save that child, that's right. So you go back in time to stop this guy from taking this kid into the Fae, the wild over there, and now
Mhm.
my bond is broken. I don't have any of that stuff. I don't have that nice little scaly stuff on my chest to my belly button, and you literally just took that away, or it would have rewritten history differently. That's what my concern was, is that kind of stuff, that power, it corrupts absolutely, right? So,
yeah,
they could have taken you from, a stern, paladin, and driven you down a different road. And you could say it wouldn't have, but you never know. You never know what would have happened. And I'm glad that you had the idea for me
okay,
to sneak
okay,
out there
but the
and try to
thing-
take it.
Oh, try and take the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Granted. Once, okay, let's say I had my way. Let's say I had my way and I did
Okay.
all that. He wouldn't want the thing anymore. He wouldn't care, because what he wanted the thing for, he would have gotten. So he would have immediately given it back to Time Elf Wizard Man.
Valeric.
I'm
Well,
elf wizard man.
Valeric.
He's like, how dare you call me a man? No.
I'm fairly
Yeah.
certain. I'm
He would've-
fairly certain that you would have gotten more than a slap on the wrist for
Yeah.
muddling with time like that.
You would have been wiped from
easily,
existence, probably.
100%. I wouldn't have cared though, because the little girl would have been safe.
Frickin' Grimm's over there making a new character sheet as we're talking about it. Like, okay, let's get one ready just in case. But
Yeah,
I mean,
back to what he said though, Raven, Valeric. He said that the item didn't just do time; it was also knowledge, right?
Yeah, had access to knowledge, all the knowledge that had been amassed through time up to that point.
That would
Dude.
have been like that's why when Phoenix woke me up, like it was like I stiffened up because that was basically like not even two birds with one stone. That was basically my ticket. Like this whole campaign, I've been kind of like breezing. Like it was me searching for answers, but I got caught up in this whole thing. And I'm just kind of rolling with it right now. I'm like holding a lot of feelings close to my chest. I'm not revealing my whole hand. not like Phoenix and Hydralis, where they're very much open with their feelings. Like they're straight up like, like with literally the whole thing that Phoenix just did. That was like straight from the heart. And obviously with Hydralis too, but like with me, it's more reserved. I'd rather keep it to myself. And with that whole thing, I wouldn't have muddled with any of the time. Maybe I would have tempted the fact, I would have toyed with it, but it was more the knowledge. Like that would have been a huge, like, probably a curse more than a boon. But I would have
Mhm.
known something at
No,
least.
I get that. I
That's
get
why
that. And
he
that's
was.
why it was.
That's
That's why
really
it was.
frustrated.
And keep and I get that. And keep that in mind that the item itself, the artifact, um, it was designed as basically a god item. It would give you access to control a little bit of time, but the biggest thing being the access to knowledge of all time. So the fact that Valeric wanted it to keep it safe, to do the research on it, to try to extract that knowledge was part of it. But it was initially designed as basically if you could have kept this item, it would have turned whoever possessed it almost like into a god. And that could not have happened. Hence why the item was initially sealed away in the vault in the first place.
And that was my concerns. That was my main concern. Falling into the wrong hands is something that item could not do. And that's why I was so adamant about why I did it, and I was justified to myself, and that's all that mattered to me. I didn't care about what anybody said about that, because that, like I said, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that right there uh was very powerful. If it holds the knowledge from time, holy crap, through all of time, holy crap, that's past, present, and future. That's a time thing. So
No,
like we
But you
up
also
to
up to
current
okay.
time. You don't have. And that was the thing. That was the thing that didn't truly make it a full god item, is the fact that it does not possess future knowledge yet. It is just a repository for knowledge that has been accumulated up to time to current.
All right, so I've got one question for you, and then I'm gonna touch on Wolf because she was about to say something. But
Mhm.
the question that I have for you is there a chance? And actually, I guess it's to both of you, uh, DM and assistant DM, ADM,
ADM. There you go.
ADM, DM, and ADM. Is there a chance that item could cross our paths again in the future?
I cannot speak for Zombie, but I can probably say that I doubt so on his side of the campaign, potentially. I don't know. I don't know what his plans are. However, I can say that with my one shots, no, we will not come across it again.
Okay.
I mean,
The only thing,
If you want a story base for what happened to the artifact after Valeric took it, is that what you're looking for?
Kind of, yeah, because well, and the reason I'm asking is because I feel like I'm asking on behalf of Arson, because I think that would drive his character a little bit more, if he had some base of knowledge to that, and you know what I mean.
Right. Okay, Zombie, you were getting ready to say something.
so I'll say this. Do I intend on bringing it up? No. That does not mean you can't pursue that.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah,
remember,
time off.
I don't. Yeah, because you have your time off. You have, you can absolutely say, "Hey, I want to do this." My character would want to do this, and you get with me, um, and it's like, "Hey, here's what I want to explore a bit," and I can make a session out of it.
All right, so
So if somebody said, "Hey, I want to figure out what happened with this," okay, well, how involved do you want to make it?
right.
Do you want to make it just a quick, "Oh yeah, I inquired about it and that's it," or it's like, no, we want to go to where it's being held, go to where the research is done. Okay, well, that's an actual session.
Yeah.
that's a
So-
pretty tall order considering you said it was very secured.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but realize you're adventurers. You're a wild card.
Yeah.
I mean, in the scheme of society, adventures are absolutely a wild card, which is one of the reasons why the Adventurers Guild was made in the first place.
Mhm.
You guys are getting out of control.
Well, so like, well, the way and this is kind of how I've always pushed the Adventurers Guild in my setting, is your standard interaction is, you hear about Farmer Jim Bob is having a problem with goblins in the countryside. Oh, the goblins are coming and they're taking my cattle.
Mhm.
I need you to go stop them. Okay, well, you go stop them. And, maybe you get injured. Maybe the, wizard goes down and you have to go back and cast, raise dead on him because he bit the dust. You got to bring him back from the dead. And, it happens. And the farmer's like, oh, thank you. Here's 20 gold.
So
That's
wait,
not enough. That's not enough to pay for, raising someone from the dead.
Expenses. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there's a very real chance that a party of adventurers could be like, well, this doesn't even cover our expenses we had for the adventure, let alone bringing somebody back, let alone us earning money for it. So now we're going to take your cattle. Or we're going to burn your barn down.
not the bar. No.
But, or, something to that regard,
Right.
because not every adventurer is a good aligned, decent person who's like, well, I get it. You're a farmer. You don't have a lot of money. You're like, I don't care. I want my money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get it one way or another. So, and there's that. There's plus the wild card. You never know.
Right.
You never know what an adventure. I mean, think about it. Your average commoner is, can't really wear armor. They can't afford it. Maybe padded, maybe leather,
Maybe
then,
newspapers.
but your average commoner,
Right.
is doesn't make a lot of money, so they don't have the skills, they don't have the equipment to even come close to even a level 1 character. They don't have the skills or abilities or anything like that.
Right.
So, especially now that you guys are level 4,
Moving on up.
later on, you become a walking army.
Right.
If you just decide to walk into a small village and go, I run this town now, well, they can't stop you.
And to be fair,
even the sheriff of the town,
mm-hmm.
he might be a level 2 fighter. And all Hydraulis would have to do is walk up and go, no.
Bite his head off.
Backhand him, and it's over.
Yep.
Fight's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now, who's going to stop you?
You're not wrong.
So that's why in the setting, the Adventurers Guild was made to try to ease the relations between the commoners and the adventurers.
Oh, okay.
By setting some guidelines and some rules of, hey, if you're wanting, the goblins that are plaguing your farm to be dealt with, then here's how it's going to be done. Here's how much it'll cost. You pay us, we pay the group. And the only interaction you have is when the party comes, you basically tell them where the goblins are at. And when they've been dealt with, you stamp it or sign the job form and it says, hey, it's been done.
Right.
Now, you guys have met the guild master, you've met the trainer, of the guild, but there's another person who you've not met, the marshal.
Ooh.
The marshal is the one, if you mess up, they're the one they send after you.
Oh boy.
So if you falsely claim, oh yeah, we went and took care of the goblins, but you didn't. You just disappeared into the woods and gave yourself a few cuts and scrapes and dirtied your clothes, and oh yeah, we dealt with it.
Like, say, for example, smashed your face on a rock a few times.
Yeah.
No one would do that.
No.
Or you didn't kill the rats in the baker's basement.
Right.
You just sent them to somebody else's basement. If you do anything that's
Immoral?
not in accordance with the job,
Yeah.
or you start becoming a nuisance in town, I mean, the town guard, after a certain bit can't handle you. You're too strong. You're too powerful.
But apparently the marshal can take us all down in a heartbeat.
Well, maybe not the marshal alone, because the marshal is just one person.
Yeah.
Now, they would have first approach you and say, hey, you done messed up. I'm giving you a chance to come back and we can talk about this. You can give your side of it, the farmer will give his side of it, and we'll come to some arrangement. They try to work it out peacefully. Now, if you say, screw you, old man, or whoever the marshal is, I'm not doing any of that. Well, they're not going to deal with you right then, but they're going to go back. They're going to tell the guildmaster, hey, we need to cancel his membership, kick him out of the guild, and then I'm going to go round up some other adventurers, post an S-ranked quest, and we're going to go take him out.
Yeah. Well, it's safe to say that he probably is max level too, right? Like you would think the marshal is pretty high up there.
I mean,
all right.
I can tell you, the guild master is max.
Oh yeah. All right.
He has to be.
So real quick, let's break down to what I was gonna say because or what Wolf was gonna say, because I know she was gonna tear me a new one for my lack of listening to
Manners.
anybody. Yeah, that too. So go ahead, Wolf. You've got your platform. Use it.
Well, I wasn't going to. More of how dare you trust the Fae more than your friends, for one.
Oh, yeah.
You mess with the Fae and everything also. But no, mine was more into the whole time thing.
Okay.
With having that much knowledge could also drive a normal person crazy.
100%.
Even if it's just knowledge of the past.
Absolutely.
And then in top of that, using it to even go back a few minutes, there have been countless media that does that, right? Where you literally go back in time and they end up going back in time so many times. It can be like a few months for them, but it's only been like 5 minutes that the other people know of.
Mm-hmm.
But they still end up going through with going back in time and saving whoever it is that they're saving, or doing whatever it is that they're doing, even with that small little bit of time.
Yeah. Well, to think that this artifact, like, I think it's safe to say that this is probably the most powerful thing that we've come across in our adventures so far. Like, it's the most powerful thing I've ever held in my hand, and was like, I don't know about this, like, I'm sure I can feel something off of it. Like, I had to be. It had to exude something. No,
you didn't. You didn't have it long enough to really be able to sense anything.
Feel the power.
No, I'm not talking about like I'm gonna feel knowledge, pouring into my soul and my pores and everything. But I was thinking like for me it would be like more of a stress on me, like like it's a lot,
More like a weight on your shoulders.
Yes, it's like there's
Yeah.
no way I would ever want to burden this, and I can understand the guy, but to be fair, he never had to burden that until that thing opened up, because it was safely sealed away, and 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 to be honest, you could be the guardian of freaking crap, and as long as nobody comes to touch the crap, you know, you're the guardian of nothing. Like
Well,
to me, that's how I felt like with him. You know what I mean?
yeah, I can see what you're saying, but you're only looking at it from one aspect in the sense that you were sent in for the artifact. Okay.
Right.
Remember though, okay, this vault has been around for millennia.
Right.
It revolves around time and items and magic and items involved with time. And you can't say that there's not time magic because like wizards have like slow time and things like that.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, okay, there were still rooms that were not explored in the vault. Keep in mind that you were going in after one particular item. So you don't know what else was there. You don't know what other experiments involving time was there. You don't know what other research there was, what other magics there was. When you're the last of your order, I guess is the way to call it. I don't want to say species, but when you're the last of your order that has taken an oath to protect all of those secrets that are in that vault, it doesn't matter whether it's the artifact itself or everything. And even if you don't know that it's even if you didn't know it was in there, it's still a lot. It's still a huge weight on your shoulders.
Yeah. To be fair though, you done diddly told us that there was nothing else in there. So but
well, that was after the thing, but
yeah,
and that was metagaming. That was metagaming it afterwards. Your
Yeah.
characters, as far as you know, don't know it.
Right,
Don't
we
know
have
what
no
else could
idea.
be in there. Right.
Yeah. So with that though, I always would think that something like that would be set outside of time itself. Like entering that vault probably put us into a different realm altogether. I don't know. I
Did
don't
you
know if
not
that's
pick up
true or
on
not.
that?
I mean,
Did
well,
you
I
not pick up
did.
on that?
I did, but that's why. But it wasn't confirmed, really. So
I didn't say anything because I wanted it to kind of be a surprise. But somebody at the beginning said something about, "Oh, are we entering the TARDIS?"
well,
Okay. I didn't say
okay.
Just
anything,
bigger on the
but
inside.
because it was bigger. I guess you missed the fact that as soon as you walk through the door of a tiny one-person shack, you were in a giant room with 4 glyphs on the floor and everything else.
And a wall of fire.
A wall of fire. So you would think that maybe that might be a clue that it was set in an extra dimensional pocket somewhere.
Well, yeah.
So there's some weird stuff going on at least.
Yeah.
Right. There's something not quite right here.
But that's what I'm saying is I
So
knew it
basically,
was.
we assisted the Time Lord. Got it.
Yeah. We assisted the
Honestly,
doctor.
okay. honestly, the whole concept of Valeric actually was the Time Lords.
Cheers,
Okay.
mate.
After it
honest-
was like described as a phone booth, I was like, okay, doctor.
Well, as soon as he
Honest to
said
God.
phone booth, I was like, okay, TARDIS.
The original, I called them Time Wardens. That was actually the 3rd revision of that group's name. The original revision was called Time Lords because that's what I was basing that character off of.
Yeah.
Was the Time Lords and the Doctor. So you're not wrong. It was a
Well-
little too long. I felt it like it was a little too on the nose though to call them Time Lords. So
Well, I tell you what, man, I've really enjoyed this discussion. I love that we, while it was still fresh on our mind, because you guys might not know this watching this, but we literally did this like within 15 minutes of ending our D&D stream, and so we're doing this now, and everything's fresh, and it's better to do that. So we've basically been doing this session for over 4 hours, give or take a few minutes. But I've really had a lot of fun doing this. Does anybody else want to talk about anything else before we wrap up? Because we're right about the time that I want to be, if not a little over.
I mean, you guys still have no clue about who Lacardus really is.
That's true.
Besides them being dragonborn, born in the Fae Wilds.
Yes, but that's, I mean, I've told you that.
Right.
But not our
You're-
characters.
all your
We just
characters
know that they've been in the Fae Wilds for some time.
all your characters know is that she showed up a few days ago the Lord told you that she would be your guide to where you need to go, and that she was then assigned to help you for this mission. And that's really about it.
Right. Well, and to be fair though, like how much does any of us know about each other? You know, I know we've been together for 6 months, but you also said that what will we talk about while training? You know, and these people don't even know my real name, my backstory, or anything like that. Like that's completely cut out of my life right now until it smacks me right in the face and says, "All right, let's deal with this now." Which I feel like in the next month it probably could happen. So
You,
Yeah,
My
I
character
mean,
was just thrown in with you guys. You guys don't even know where I'm from.
yeah, we know nothing about
well,
her
do you want me?
except for
Do you want me to
she's
be
freaking lightning happy.
Yes.
right?
so I mean,
Do you want me to be honest too
What?
about that? Blaze doesn't care.
Blaze doesn't care.
Blaze doesn't care. Blaze was put in with this group. Okay, the whole group trained together. Okay, during that training, during the final exam, during the adventures that we have been on, the group has proven that they are worthy combatants and that they are trustworthy to know that you can trust, each of us could trust our lives to the other, and that they'll try to do things to help out.
Mm-hmm.
Blaze doesn't care what your backstory is. He just knows what he has to deal with right at the moment.
I mean,
You're to Blaze, you're a group of colleagues, you know, and
and fair enough.
that kind of thing.
You know,
Yeah.
fair enough to that. But I feel like sometime down the road we're gonna have a bond bigger than what we are now.
yeah, I mean, I also realized that's why at the very beginning I said, give your backstory as what you would have told everybody. Because like I said, when you're going through boot camp, basically, you would have had time to talk around the dinner table
Right.
or around a table playing cards or whatever. You would have talked about, oh yeah, I'm from such and such town. You know, you would have given little bits about yourself, not everything, because you don't know these people. But over time, over the 6 months, stuff would have come up. So a little bit about these people. I mean, except for Ayla, because she just appeared in a tree stump. But
Yeah.
you know a little bit about these people and like maybe where they're from or kind of what type of life they had up to this point. You know, you've been able to pick up some things, but not everything.
But the fact is when it comes down to it, we're gonna grow closer as we go. You know, and
Only if you share information.
right, that's true. But I feel like I'm gonna get to the point with my character that I'll have to, because there's gonna be something I'm gonna have to rely on these guys to do to help me, and I really do believe that. Like, I'm not gonna share anything right now about it, but I think the time's coming. I've already put it into motion, by getting someone to start looking into my backstory basically, and things. So it's a coming. The only thing I'm waiting for is
Yeah.
my Phoenix. So where do we stand on that, zombie?
I don't know.
It
Sorry,
happened when you climb the highest peak.
Yeah.
I
I,
looked the wrong way. Sorry.
yeah. So did I. I looked over here first. I was like, oh wait a minute. Oh, over here.
But I mean, you're not going to find a phoenix in the Feywild.
Okay. Fair enough.
So,
To be fair, like I told you last week, I thought that me going around the house, I was gonna find an egg or something. To be honest, I really did. I thought you were gonna push that on
you
me.
did find something that was young, just not
Fair
what
enough.
you thought.
And let me tell you,
Yeah.
those cookies were the best, and so were the tea. But it's got a lasting impression on me for the rest of my life. So, however
So
long or
great,
short that may be.
almost go for seconds.
Well, but yeah. So does anybody have anything else to say before we close out?
Yeah,
Grim,
two things.
hold on one
Oh,
second. Grim,
yeah, let them go.
yeah, Grim and Arson, do you guys have anything to say?
Grim? Nope. Really?
Alright.
Nope.
Nope.
real quick to touch back on something, Wolfie, you said earlier about, is that why you asked, was that why you sent Blaze away at the very beginning, and talking about how it's tough to DM both your player character and to DM everything else, and that is exactly one of the reasons why, because there's so much going on as a DM. It's tough to really even be able to play your own character as it is. But second of all, and this is a little bit of foreshadowing, that
Ooh.
also plays into some of the story that is developing with these one shots.
Interesting.
And
I
that's
wasn't here for
all
the
I'm.
first one, so
Well,
Yeah.
no,
I wasn't
the
either.
first one was the first one. No, starting from today's session forward is where the story is going to develop.
okay.
All you need to
In
know
the
about the
very
first one is I was the champ. That's it.
you were the
All right.
champ. Yeah.
You were the
Now,
champ.
second of all, you had said something about you wanted to know the continuing story of what happened after Valeric took the artifact.
Well, I mean, I do.
It wasn't really me, but I think it
No,
was Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah. No, I do, but that's more along the case of like what Arson was getting at. I would like to see a storyline based off that in the future. Maybe not in the next coming months, but like something down the road to where we can actually explore that possibly.
You can
Maybe
explore it. You can explore it all you want, because the information that you're about to be given, your characters won't ever know, because the information that you're being given is something that your characters won't know. This is something that you as a player know.
right.
Okay.
Right, but but I'm talking about Arson's character, like Ignis. Ignis
Right.
wants to know more about the knowledge out there and stuff like that. So
It's
that
something more specific,
right,
but
right.
yeah, I
But
don't want to know everything. That's just madness.
You're pinpointing that knowledge is what I'm saying. Is what you
Yeah.
need. That's it. You're not
Right.
tempted to go after anything bigger, even though
Nope.
every one of us would be in a heartbeat. Be like, is that enough for me? Like, is it really? Let me
I'm
just
too
peek
lazy
a
to
little bit
figure out
more.
bigger stuff. I just want to know some things.
Yeah.
Now, and that's great. I'm glad that the artifact gives that plot device to be able to do that for your characters, and that's great. And I hope that you guys do pursue that. But I will tell you this, okay? One of the things that Zombie mentioned was the fact that you guys don't know what happened to it. You could pursue trying to find out about it. And then somebody had mentioned something, well, what if it's in an extra dimensional space? And you could never get to it, kind of a thing. Okay. And that's kind of where I'm circling back to is again, DMs always tend to think along the same lines when it comes to certain things. The continuing story of it is once Valeric stepped through the portal, he actually took the artifact to another secure location. That secure location is in an extra dimensional space, because he wanted to pull the artifact out of the current timeline so that it couldn't potentially fall into other wrong hands. Plus, he felt it would be better protected there, especially the research that they wanted to do on it. Something goes wrong in the research, then there's, let's say, a big explosion. The artifact could potentially wreck the fabric of time in this dimension. So his plan the whole time was to pull it out of time, as our group knows it,
Right.
to keep it secure. Is there a potential to get to that extra dimensional space? 100%. 100%. But it's finding where it's at. So
So
it is securely protected.
so I have a question because I've heard that phrase "time warden" before, and I was pretty sure I knew where it was from. And
Mhm.
did you guys ever watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like 2000, like the early 2000 series, 2001 or 2002 or whatever it is? So in there was this character called Lord Simultaneous, and I'm pretty sure they had this thing called the Time Scepter. Do you guys remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time? So it was something similar to that. It was
Right.
something similar to the Time Scepter there. And so this Time Scepter was like a big thing. And I'm pretty sure that they called like what Lord Simultaneous was and others like him were Time Wardens. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought maybe that's where I heard it. I actually looked it up, but that didn't give me a correct answer.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I like that. I like the way that sounds though. But all right, well,
That was 100%. Like I said, 100% the Time Wardens were based on the Time Lords. So
yeah. So all right, guys. On that, we're a little over than what I want it to be, but it's been good stuff. I've enjoyed this conversation. I was wondering how this was going to go, and remember, we're using this platform not only discussion, which I love this discussion. It's literally like on point of what we did because we can sit here forever and talk about our adventure that we just went through because it's nice to discuss that.
Forever sounds like a long time.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, with that amulet though, you can just keep on revisiting it, you know. So
I would never use it for such a meaningless. No, I'm just.
Grimwood. No.
I
He's
mean,
like, oh, okay.
again, he just openly stated it. Like I imagine, like he could have said that like straight to Valoric's face, and like he wouldn't have cared about the consequences. He would have just straight up said it.
Oh, easily.
I would have loved to seen that side of the coin, to be honest. But I never thought in a heartbeat that I was going to give it to him as my character. Give him that time amulet or whatever.
Well,
I know,
and you-
I know. I sympathized a bit with.
I'm
like,
not gonna lie.
Alistair at the end. I feel like I feel like I probably would have fought you for it.
Yeah,
I would have fought you for it, Grim.
I would have had to join in on that, to be honest. Because
I mean,
couldn't-
hey, I'm just saying, if anyone had given it to me willingly, I would have straight up just called you stupid out of game.
yeah,
Like-
and
like,
let's be honest.
I was very clear with what I wanted to do.
oh,
Nothing was
100%.
going to change that.
You were 100% clear, 100%, like 1,000%, and that's why I didn't because I kept it. Plus, we didn't have the time. We literally had to run out of there within a minute, so we
Yeah.
barely made it out with everything.
I was gonna
intact.
say.
That would have been funny
So,
though if
I was gonna say if we
if
didn't
another
have
rock
the,
would have fell on Wolf before we got out. That'd have been great. Roll.
By
I was gonna say if we weren't timed, like genuinely, I would have been like, all right, give me the cube. We're going back to save the kid. But obviously, I didn't have the knowledge that it wouldn't go back, like wouldn't have gone back in time enough for us to actually go save her.
Right.
But like I would have taken it by force if need be.
But you wouldn't have had the knowledge to actually work it either. So you had no idea what you're going to be
No,
doing with it.
But again,
It was just the
I'd have
fact-
no
it
idea.
was
I
the
would just
fact
be
that he
pressing buttons
thought-
hoping it'd work.
yeah, it was the fact that he thought he could. He was gonna take that
Yeah.
chance.
But
So
my
there was-
simple.
there was-
Go ahead.
I would say there was three outcomes that I had planned, depending on how things went. The one that ended up happening. Actually, I'm sorry. There's four outcomes. The one that ended up happening, actually fighting the Titan. One of you would have tried to keep the item, or you would have tried to fight Valoric for it to try to
Oh.
keep the item.
Fight a time warden. Yeah, right.
Now, well, and see here's and see here. There, I had a stat block pull up completely for Valoric on the off chance that somebody made the mistake to try to fight him. But in all reality, no matter what the outcome of any of those four options were, nobody would have gotten that artifact.
Yeah. Well, and
That's
I
the
think
thing.
it's
Oh, yeah,
funny
It was
out of
never
all
designed for
four,
you guys to have it.
out of all four of those like thought processes you had, I threw a huge monkey wrench into yours, and I thought that was great. I love that. I really do. I caught you off guard so bad, and
You did. You
that-
did.
I always
did.
have that, no matter how
But
much.
you know what? You know what? I'm happy it happened. I really am.
Yeah,
If you can somehow come up with a way, I've always said, if you can somehow come up with a way to trip up the DM and try to get him to do something on the fly, especially if it's me, point, you get cool points for that because that's just
but usually
No.
that crap is Arson and Grimm's job. Like they do that stuff. Like I don't do that. You
I
can
mean, I
agree.
oh yeah, and I was expecting them to do something. You
Like
know,
who the
I
heck
mean-
thinks that I'm gonna break the glass and throw that freaking suit of armor through the glass, the cog up, the block up the cogs? Who thinks of that? Grim. Grim
Rule
thinks
of
of
cool.
that.
Rule of cool, man. It was a good. It was like I said. It was the DC on that I set low because I wanted to see what happened. and what
It
he
was
thinking.
great. It was great. But all right, guys. So it's
I-
time to go
even-
ahead. Go ahead, Grim. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even Zombie can attest. Like in some of the other stuff, I text a Zombie up and like, "Hey, can I do this?" And he's just like, probably not." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, that's fair. I just wanted to be cool."
I was trying to
Yeah,
think very outside the box this time, especially with all the things I could do with like I really wanted to read what that said on that, even though I come to find out I wouldn't have been able to. But to be fair, you said 1 hour. Like I guess it wouldn't count as a rest as if we're still active. I'd have to actually sit down and rest for an hour and get back my
Well, no, on a short rest, you can do light things. You can read, you can study, you can
yeah.
eat, things like that. So you could have potentially you start cast, you can you, I usually play it as if you need to recharge an item, for example, and you have to use spell slots for it, you can do that. Typically, though, people try to do that before they start the rest so that they get,
Yeah.
But it's usually light things. So
Right.
casting the spell, you wouldn't have been able to. It wouldn't have technically fit into a short rest.
Right. Well, my
Yeah.
biggest thing is I wanted to be able to use that potion this round because I had it. It was a new toy for me. So
Mhm.
I wanted to try to, prestidigitation wasn't that may have had some help if the caverns were bigger, but like it really didn't help because I could leave
That
marks on walls and stuff like that and
Oh
whatever.
yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Because like I'm still trying to figure that stuff out. But look, guys, as much as I'm going to sit here and talk, I've tried to end this thing twice now in the last 15 minutes. So let's wrap this thing up. What? Okay, are you able to tell us anything before we go, Zombie? Any type of hint or whatever? What's to come in the coming weeks?
You will explore the wild more.
Oh, well, thank you.
that's short
I mean-
code for still rebuilding database.
Oh,
Please
that's
give me
right. I
time.
forgot about that.
So I mean, long. Okay, yes, I am slowly having to rebuild it, and so just to give you a brief clue, I lost over a decade's worth of work.
Which
Oh,
sucks.
man.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Dang.
I'm having to rebuild it in order of importance of stuff you are most likely going to need first.
Right.
So that's where I have to begin. Now, as for teasers as to what's to come, I mean, you kind of know what's coming. You know that you're going to, with the help of Lacridus, to explore the area that you described,
Right.
the swamp with the decay and all that. So that's your first destination. Now, as to what you do in the, because you said it was like 3 days from that, so in the 3 or 4 days in game that'll pass before the next session. What you do with that time is up to you.
Well, I'm
Um,
excited right now. I'm excited to see your character eventually go into the real world. And by real world, I don't mean the Feywilds. I mean like if she does join us. I'm assuming she's going to because she's a permanent fixture, unless you're going to make another character for outside. But
I don't intend to.
yeah, so I'm
But
excited
I mean,
to
you
see.
never know what'll happen.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm also excited to hear the expression on Arson's face that all this training that he's doing to level up this stuff, that it's not counting while he's in the Feywild.
What are you on about, man?
Oh, nothing. You'll find out soon enough. But
I know
okay,
what you're saying. But
yeah. Well, we talked about it last week, and if you watched the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
guys, what training was I doing? I thought that was Blaze that was doing the training.
Was it
Mhm.
Blaze? Oh, it was
Yeah,
It was
it
Blaze.
Blaze.
Blaze left.
It was Blaze was the one that was paying someone.
My bad. My bad. So yeah,
Yeah.
all this work that Blaze is working on is nil and void while we're where we at. So
Yep.
I guess like the closest thing I have is like training on the loot still, because I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Bard school and all that, but
yeah, because I thought
As
you were
for
doing something.
Blaze-
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when you did that. Yeah.
as for
So
Blaze, yeah, he can't train right. His trainer's probably wondering where he is right now. You didn't
Or
arrive
is-
on time.
or is time different in there? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll
Don't know.
find out. But those are questions for another day. And on that note, we are ending this session. Thank you all for being here for the Tavern Talk. I enjoyed it. You know, I loved doing it last week with Zombie, but having all of us here was a lot of fun. It really was. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to do more of these. You know, not specifically with everybody, but with, you know, who's going to show up besides myself and Zombie? Because I feel like Zombie and I are the mainstay in this right now. And anybody that joins us is great. I'm excited about it, but I'm pretty sure it's, you know, Zombie and I are like, okay, we're doing this and we're, you know, we'll figure it out in the future. But guys, if you like this, give us a subscription. Let us know you like it. Tell us why some of the choices we made were stupid, including mine for doing what I did going against the Time Warden and stuff like that. But just yeah, let us know. Give us some comments. Tell us things, you know, your love for D&D and whatnot. And but yeah, so there should be a broken link to the From the Ashes podcast. Click on that link, and the chance that it opens up, yeah, it'll take you to all our socials. On that, we are ready to move on from this void, and we're gonna go ahead and throw this into a stream ending screen. Appreciate you guys. If anybody else has one last thing to say, by the way, thanks for watching, everybody. But if anybody else has anything else to say it now.
Oh man,
Potatoes.
let's all go out for corn dogs.
Potatoes.
Corn dogs, potatoes,
Yes.
corn dogs, and potatoes. Oh man,
No,
Potatoes.
good. Potatoes.
potatoes.
Or potato flavored alcohol.
So vodka.
So, vodka.
All right,
Wow.
guys. Have a great one. Talk to you later.
Later.
Either.